Hello and welcome to pre Premier League fixture Eve. I am putting together a video that I said I would do more than 3 weeks ago. Remember when I said that I would be back to talk about post match about Villa versus Manchester United more than 3 weeks ago? Yeah, well, I was so upset about the result. I was actively upset about it for like 10 days. I had therapy last week, which would have been like over 2 weeks after the result, and I was telling my therapist about it, and she was like, "Just so you know, you don't not sound mad." I'm like, "I know I sound mad talking about it because I am mad about it, but I'm to the point where I'm not actively always mad about it." Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about the Manchester United game. I will a little bit. I'm keeping an eye on my little timer on there. I'm at about a minute. I'll talk about a minute and a half, 2 minutes about it. So, it was a lasagna of nonsense. It just was. People will want to be like, "Oh, it was solely the refereeing decision," but it's not. We went out and played scared. Like, I was shocked at how little we were winning the ball in the midfield. Like, I don't. Did we win the ball back in the midfield, or like just before they had a shot, or just had a passing error or something, or it just went out of play off of them by some chance? Not really. We were really barely in possession. We conceded a lot of shots. And then, obviously, the red card. I don't know why he felt the need to run out and, like, it's 40 yards away. If it's Holland, like, I can understand that instinct, but Hoyland and that far out, man, just let him have the shot. Even if he scores, you still have 11 men on the pitch. A lot can change with one goal, and just getting a fire under your ass. Oh man, and the people blaming Matty Cash for that need to just, I don't know, take a kick rocks off a long pier. Anyway, yeah, I've talked about the Man United game, and uh, that's all I really want to talk about. It was a lot of things, and then Newcastle losing. Like, had they won, it would have been okay. We were gonna miss it anyway. But yeah, so I wanted to get this video out. I wanted to grade Aston Villa's season, and by the way, it's like I said, it's fixture release Eve, and so that's why I'm getting this video out. I recorded a whole 22 minutes earlier. It never saved, so you're getting a very kind of rushed, stressed version of me. So I can get it out before the season's officially in the books. So I am grading Villa on a 4 point scale, like back in school, and I'm doing 7 categories. I'm not weighting them just because that's too much math that, yes, I can do, but I don't feel like. So everything's weighted equally. I have Carabao Cup, Champions League, FA Cup, Premier League, summer transfer activity, winter transfer January transfer activity, and then I'm rating Emery as a manager. So let's start with the Carabao Cup. I gave a C minus because we beat Wickham away 2-1, conceded a last minute goal as we love to do this season. But still got through to the next round. It was a lot of guys making their first team appearances. Proud moment for them and their family. Beautiful. But we lost to Palace in the next round at home. And yes, Palace won the FA Cup and like really do play some dangerous football at points seemingly at the end of the season. But they were not very good, and we lost to them at home. Because we can never get a result against Palace. Yeah, they went out to Arsenal in the next round, and we probably would have gone out to Arsenal as well. But still, it was also a very limp performance. So going out like that, yeah, can't go higher than a C minus. Next is Champions League. I gave us an A. I'm sorry if you want to rate us like a B plus, A minus. Like, I will not fight you on that. But for me, we, I think, did as well as we could have possibly done in this version of the Champions League. In this like timeline, basically. Like, had like any small little thing been a little bit different, then I think that all things considered, it was a very good season. We finished top 8. We beat the Bruges pretty bad, and granted, there were two major turning points in both of those games. In the round in Belgium, it was the clearance by Mings that just little like his shoelace just kept it from being a goal. And then in the second round, being the red card when we were already up 3-1 at home, huge turning point. And even going out to PSG, like PSG were something else in the knockout rounds. Like they did everything they needed to do to beat every opponent. They had the drama with Liverpool going all the way to penalties, like dominating Liverpool in both legs, but conceding very late to a substitute in Paris, and then going to Liverpool and getting it done to force extra time and then penalties, and then took on Villa and really destroyed us in the first leg. Even though, funnily enough, the XG was very low on the goals that I actually scored. That was just very interesting. But yeah, all things considered, top eight made it to the quarterfinals and lost to the eventual winners. Like, how can you argue with an A? Again, if for you that is a B plus, I'm not going to argue with you. But for me as a fan, it's an A. Okay, FA Cup. I went with a B. I think that had the performance that we gone out on not been so god awful, or our run been a little harder, I would give a B plus. But we were playing West Ham, like Graham Potter's second day in charge. He had like one training session the day before, and that was it, or something along those lines. We were playing a Spurs team that, from what I remember, were pretty injured, and they were just in turmoil because there was, they were still very far out in the Europa League and sinking in the Premier League. So that was a little bit more of an unknown time, as opposed to like late April, early May, where it was clear that Postecoglou was gonna at least get to manage in the Europa League final. And then we also played Cardiff at home. They got relegated from the championship. We're at home. Yeah, I just as a USMNT fan really liked how Horvath played in that game, only conceding 2 goals despite just the onslaught he faced for 90 minutes. And then Preston on the road, they were pretty mediocre to bad in the championship, so you would expect to beat them home or away. But that just really limp performance, and at Wembley, like going out like that, even if that would have been in the fifth round instead of the quarterfinal instead of the semifinal, where it's not it, where the whole country is basically, that is the only game that is what people are watching. Like that, even that would have been a little bit better. Or even if we would have beat like Liverpool or Man City away, that would have been a really big that I think would have gone up in my estimation. And then the Premier League, I gave an A minus. I don't. Here's the thing: in a vacuum, if you would have gone back and told Premier League fans, especially non-Villa fans, like neutral fans, hey, Villa are gonna finish sixth in the Premier League and go to the semifinal of the FA Cup and the Champions League quarterfinal and lose to the eventual winner. And you asked, are you impressed by that? I think they would say yes. That's all I'm saying. I think that in a vacuum, it is good. Now, that doesn't mean there weren't awful results. There were. We conceded so many late goals. I forget the stat. I think it was like 14 or something after 75 minutes. Like that is really, really bad. Definitely cost us a lot of results. Bournemouth at home, particularly. And then failing to beat 10-man Ipswich. We didn't beat Ipswich either times we played them. We drew both. That just cannot be happening, especially at home, especially when they're down to 10 men. And when that happens in the first half, and they scored first too. There were setbacks. But again, I'm looking at the larger picture. We are still in Europe. We're in Europe a third straight season. We are the first Premier League non Big Six team to do that since Villa did it in 09-10. You might be thinking West Ham played in Europe 3 seasons. Correct. But remember, they got into Europe the third season by winning the Europa Conference League, not by league position. So, for me, it's an A minus. In summary, it's an A minus. Again, if you want to go into like the B minus, I think B minus would be a little harsh, but if you wanted to argue that, I probably wouldn't get too upset. I completely understand that this is very subjective. Now on to summer transfer activity. I gave this a B plus because here's the thing, it really was impressive that like we don't have a points deduction. The fact that we got the Dougie Luiz deal done, which by the way I was devastated by. I love Dougie, although he has fallen off, which I don't know how much that is to just Juventus or like something going on bothering him in his personal life or just I don't know. But it was great to get 2 prospects and some cash for him and avoid a points deduction. That alone is incredible. We brought in Onana, big name. Unfortunate with injuries, but he was immense since going on a run of consistent game time after Tielemans got injured. I would say he's more physical than creative, but some games call for that. I'm never going to say don't start Tielemans because I'm barring, you know what I mean. But it's good to know that he can fill in very effectively. Um, and then Philogene brought him back from Hull, and then and he performed very well against Bayern Munich, and that had Villa fans pretty optimistic. But then, unfortunately, he just wasn't able to do it again. He just had one really good performance. I really hope that he has a good career, but yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, Matson, very good signing. He took a little bit to get embedded, and his defensive work was very sussy wussy early, but he's, I think he's one for the future. Absolutely. Well, pretty much now. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Luca Dean because he's only got one more year on his deal. So I'm not sure if Villa are just going to let Dean go in a year, like if he is viewed as more of an asset now than whatever money we would get for him. Plus losing a starting left back option. I don't know, but Matson's a great. He's what he does bringing forward is incredible. I can't wait for him what he's doing in like next season and 2 and 3 seasons down the line. Ross Barkley, really good option off the bench and just as some depth for maybe a game or two when like Tielemans has a niggle or something. Really good goal against Leipzig. He had a goal against Leicester. Really good goal. And he's just cool, calm, and collected. Not trying to be the superstar. Solid signing. Outgoings, again, Douglas Luiz, devastated. But Tielemans has really more than stepped up in that creative midfield role. Um, and plus all the benefits of just selling him. Really good work. Moussa Diaby, I was really disappointed because Leon Bailey really needed some competition. I don't know what was going on there, but we didn't have any depth on the right wing. It was really bad, and I'm not sure if we made money or lost money on the Diaby deal. All the numbers I've seen have kind of been pretty, like it was kind of a wash. It may have been like 2 or 3 million in one direction, but pretty much got our money back. Which okay, fine. And then everyone else was pretty much alone. Moving on to the January transfer window, this was an A. Like Rashford, Asensio, that's enough said. And they both were very incredibly instrumental in that run. We had a lethal attack when we went and won 8 out of our last 10 games. They were monumental. And Rashford was injured for the last, like, what was it, 4 or 5 games? Yeah, really incredible. Also got a signing for the future in Andres Garcia. We brought in Daniel Malin. I felt bad for him because he was the permanent player we brought in from Borussia Dortmund, and but he was left out of the Champions League squad, which, unfortunate rule, but it is what it is. Um, yeah, I'm really looking forward to what he can do in the future. He scored 3 goals in 3 games, and didn't even start all of those games. So that is very promising. And I know, from what I've seen, he can play on both wings. I'm really hoping he can play on the right. And then we also brought in Axel Disasi on loan. He definitely served his purpose. I don't think we're going to sign him. And now that our center back crisis is fixed, because Luca Dean was playing center back at one point. That's how bad it was. Um, yeah, so thank you for your service, but I don't think we'll sign him permanently. Okay, now on to Emery. I've decided on a B. Um, I think that tactically, a lot of things, of course, he's a tactical genius. Um, really good win against Bayern Munich, and then just everything we did in the Champions League was incredible. But I do have some questions about like the man management. Like I said, bringing in Daniel Malin and barely using him, uh, leaving him out of the Champions League squad. I know it was the right decision and everything, but it, it's not gonna. I would imagine it didn't sit well, and if it didn't, I completely understand. So I went with a B because I do think that there were certain tactical mistakes throughout the season. But again, I do trust Emery. I know that everything he does is with a reason. It may or may not work out. If everything always worked out, like, he could demand literally whatever he wanted because everything he did worked, and you would never lose. Okay, I'm done rambling. Thank you for sitting by my rambles. I actually did that 5 minutes quicker than the other one. I'm also going to save time because I've calculated what the GPA I gave was before, and it was a 3.29 rounding up. And so that's about a B. Why am I stupid? About a B plus, just shy of a B plus, which I think is fair. I think that if you told all of those things again to a non-Villa fan, any football fan, and asked them to rate it, they would probably say like a B, a high B, low B plus. So that's my feelings on the season, and that is officially the season done and dusted. I can't wait to see the fixture list tomorrow. I will, of course, be back with my reaction to that. And thanks for tuning in, and